Hello, welcome to the Data Science with R class. Now let us look with a diagnostics of classifier. So in this diagnostics of a classifier, what the previous classifiers we talked was the linear regression, logistic regression, decision trees, naive based. So we classified the instances with a distinction towards grouping based on their similar characteristics, etc. Now, how do we give a classifier a justification that a classifier has done better? For example, my first semester marks were 68, second semester as CGPA, GPA, second semester was 72 GPA, third semester it is some 71 GPA, and fourth semester it is some 70 GPA. Now, if I visit to a company and ask me to give a job, they will ask, don't ask what is your first semester, what is your second semester marks. They will look a common value, a CGPA, which will be around some 70%. So we need to look at all the measures independently, and a final impression has to be propagated to the classifier. In order to give a final comments, a concluding comments to a classifier, there are few metrics which decides it. One of a such metrics to visualize the outcome of a classifier was confusion matrix. So this confusion matrix, it is going to be laid out with a tabular form, and it is going to allow a visualization of a classifier. So here is what we are going to visualize. The things what it is going to predict, we call it as prediction class. The things what are going to be in real actually happening, we call them as actual class. Now we take up two items, one as positive, another as negative. One as positive and another as negative. So we do get a four-way things. One we call it as true positive, another we call it as false negative, other we call it as false positive, and another thing we get it as true negative. So just a easy interpretation for a layman thing was, actuals are going to be positive, it is same here, and it is false here, right? One set case it is true, another case it is going to be false. Again, actuals negative case, it is going to be false at one case, true at another case. But always the prediction class is as static as possible. It is positive, positive. Similarly, a negative class, it is negative and negative. So at a undergraduation level, the knowledge levels of a student to put it on a paper may not be equal, but for a layman, I'm just putting this table to give a good impression of what you learned for confusion matrix. So not to confuse, and writing the appropriate positions is without by hearting, etc. It is just a common sense to put this. If it is positive, negative. So you've put true here, false here. So the values which are going to be the actuals, they are changing from one position to another position. If one case it says true, another case it traces false. One case it traces false, another case it traces true. But prediction is always fixed. Prediction is always fixed. So you can directly write the prediction class positive, positive, negative, negative. You can directly write down in the vertical way. Only the horizontal way you can move from true to false, false to true. But the prediction, it is decided. So either in a first case or either in a second case, it is fixed. It is just for understanding. Let me give some more explanation in the slide, which gives a technical impact of what we are talking. Now, as mentioned, the confusion matrix has 4 attributes. One, the actual classes. Two, the classifier, what it is going to predict. The original data, what we supplied in the data set, all the 14 instances we gave, their classes labels are known, everything is known, giving in advance as a testing set. Yeah, we gave that as an actual. In the training set, we need to predict the class labels. So there we are going to call that element here as a testing set with the two probabilities of positive and negative. Now, how does a classifier predict something? How does a classifier predict something? So if I toss a coin, the chances for head or tail will be 50 for first time. But if I want to measure 10 occurrences, will all the 10 give 5 heads and 5 tails? It won't be like that. So there will be a chances of misclassification. How much misclassification is there? How much accurate a classifier has classified? So another example, tomato basket, potato basket. I put tomatoes and potatoes on a table. Now I ask a child to separate tomatoes and potatoes. If the child, basing on the similarities, he or she divides it accurately, fine. But in a case, a potato was put in a tomato basket or a tomato was put in a potato basket. So there is some error, there is some misclassification. So how much is that error? How much is that misclassification? Similarly, 90% the child has put the appropriate divisions. I'm just orally telling 90%. So 90% correct means what I am assumption in my mind was it is a true value what I anticipated. So I need to measure the true quantity, the perfectness of a classifier, and I need to measure the misclassification done by the classifier. So I need to get an accuracy value with 4 primitives, that is true positive, false positive, true negative, and false negative. So using these 4 components, I need to get the things. Fine. Now, how we put a value to a classification matrix which obeys true positive. True positive definition, it is going to tell that the number of positive instances that the classifier correctly identifies as positive. In reality, it is positive and classifier has done it correctly. Now we call that element as true positive. In reality, I felt that these are the items which need to be classified correctly. The machine was trained and the machine gave me the same answers what is in my mind. I thought 5 should come correctly. 5 came. What I thought 5? All those 5 only came. That means whatever is in my mind, that is the actual class, was reiterated in the prediction class. So true is there, true is there. Now I can say that element here as true positive. Now let us look with the second case. Now I know that the number of instances classified as negative, but reality is positive. I know that I am pumping some error. Actually, I know it. I have done that. I have intentionally done that, and I want to verify whether the machine is working or not, whether the machine will correctly identifying the things or not. I want to verify the functionality of the machine. So in reality, they are positive to my mind. I know that there should be an error, and the classification as negative. That means the false negative case is going to be a misclassification. Why it is misclassification? Because I know in my mind that they are positive and I'm intentionally fooling the machine, intentionally seeing what this machine will bring, whether it brings a positive or negative. I'm testing the machine, but machine was telling me wrong because I know what I have supplied. I know the positive values I have given to the system. So intentionally I have done it. So I need to verify the system, and system was trapped. So system has classified it into negative. That means there is some error in misclassification. Third thing, false positive. The next thing was false positive. Coming to this definition, the number of instances in which the classifier identified as positive, but reality they are negative. Again, I know that they are negative instances. I know that they are misclassified content, but still the probability or the predicted content was true. So again, there was a error at this case. The fourth thing was, I have a true positive, true negative value, that is Tn. In this case, the number of negative instances, the classifier correctly identifies the negative. I put some wrong answers. I intentionally put some wrong, and I thought that classifier should tell they are really wrong, and classifier told me as wrong. Now, where is the truth? Truth is at case 1 and truth is at case 2. In these two cases, telling right is right, telling wrong is wrong. A victim may have, in reality, may have done some theft, done some cheating, something else. His lawyer was so intelligent he got the judgment from a court that he was guilty. Originally, what is that person? He is a cheater, he is a theft. But what the court gave? He gave him as positive. He is very clean sheet, he gave him clean sheet. So, what the context we have to see here was, there are some external factors which we will discuss later, but intentionally we are putting the chose and the classifier was giving that chose. And the same chose, I am repeating it again. The theft, the cheating person, he has employed his lawyer, and the lawyer was unable to prove the person as not guilty. He lost his case. The judge was so clever and he made him not guilty. So what is this case again? One, I talked about false negative. Another, I talked about false positive. So either the two things, there is a choice which it is going to put the things into a negative classifying way. Fine. Then what is correct? I put a correct object, machine should tell as correct, true positive. I put a wrong object before the machine and the machine must tell me it is the wrong object. It is also correct. See, telling correct is also correct, telling negative is also correct. So negative to negative, it is correct. Positive to positive, it is correct. So the classifier should classify in such a way that true should be true, false should be false. So one we call it as true positive, another we are going to call it as true negative. So these are the cases which gets the classifier to say it is a good classifier. So how should that be the things to measure? The measurements was true positive should be very large, true negative should be, we should have large true positive and true negative, and very small false positive and false negative. The larger value should fall for true positive and true negative, and smaller value should fall for false positive and false negative. Fine. Now, if I go to a doctor and I ask to test a disease, and to justify one disease, the doctors put 4 or 5 tests, a composite value will bring to that final test. So multiple tests are impacting to a common value. Similarly, I need to measure accuracy of an algorithm. I need to measure accuracy of a classifier. Then I should get this accuracy value with a composition of true positive, true negative by true positive, false negative, and true negative. So all these 4 elements will happen. Other than these 4, nothing will happen. Other than these 4, nothing will happen. So all the 4 cases should be considered. Then in that, which is telling true? Which is telling true? True positive and true negative. Identifying tomato as tomato, identifying potato as potato. So actual meeting the prediction, prediction meeting the actuals. So It is well separated, well divided. The truth part involved in true positive and true negative, based on that all the four values, they are going to be propagated here. So that is where the accuracy is going to good. Okay, I get an accuracy value. Now, when I get this accuracy value, I will say that the model is performing well. How can I say? When I have high value, high score, when I'm going to get a high score, then we can say that model is giving a well established content. So we compare the performance of a classifier after gaining the accuracy and compare the accuracy with Navier, compare the accuracy with regressions or other classifiers, decision tree or random forest, and give up which classifier is going to be the better value. Fine. Now, let us see the internal composition of the true positive rate. We call it as TPR, true positive rate. We call it as TPR. So TPR is going to be the truth part divided by truth part and the false part. That is true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. So it is telling within a definition form what percentage of positive instances the classifier has correctly identified. So supplying negative, I know it is supplying false, I gave it intentionally. This is real. Supplying true, I gave it intentionally. This is real. So I get this value as true positive value. Next one, I need to compute false positive rate. How do I compute the false positive rate? I compute by false positive by false positive plus true negative. I compute it by false positive divided by false positive plus true negative. So how do I get this value? So I had a false positive, and to this false positive I look up with the negative composition content, false positive and false negative, true negative. Okay, now I have taken the things in a horizontal way. Now holistically, let us compute the false negative rate. How we are going to compute the false negative rate is, we need to get the percentages of the classifier marked as negative. That is, it goes up into type 2 error, the alternate hypothesis, etc. So towards the misclassification rate. So there we are going to see that the false negative rate, it will take up false negative content divided by true positive and false positive, false negative. So true positive plus false negative. So this is where what we get with the values true positive rate, false positive rate and false negative rate. Is this enough? Means no, it is not at all enough. Accuracy, we call it as F measure. Accuracy, we call it as F measure. To do this accuracy and F measure, we involve the things with most renowned words, one called as precision, another called as a recall. So when we are going to call it as a precision, it is going to compute the percentage of instances marked as positive that they are really positive. Which is really positive? the really positive element is true positive and really positive element is false positive. Positive, positive. We are going to get, so precision, it is taking up the entire truth part, true positive by true positive plus false positive. But when coming to the recall, it will be taking up the percentages of the positive instances that are correctly identified. So what are the positive instances that are correctly identified means? So recall, it will be having the true positive values with the true positive and false negative. So we get this set with recall value, and the entire positive we compute, we call it as precision value. So recall is also called as true positive rate. So true positive rate, we take up the entire truth composition, that is true positive by the true positive plus false negative. So this is where we look up for precision value and recall value. Now let us take the bank example, and they are then done with a campaign whether a fixed deposit will be subscribed by the customers or not. So assume that we have the total subscription as 5 and 95 and total as 100. So total subscriptions as 5, non-subscriptions as 95, and the total instances are done like this. Similarly, if I take with the actual class, it was 11 and it was 89, but I have taken it with the prediction class with subscription and non-subscription. Now I need to measure the accuracy of a classifier. How I am going to get the accuracy of a classifier means, I do have a formula of true positive plus true negative by true positive plus true negative plus false positive by false negative into 100. So we get 90%. So 90% is going to be the overall accuracy of classifier. So next we do have true positive rate or a recall. So when we are going to call it as a recall here, now we are going to take up the true instances. We are going to take up the true instances here. That is 3 plus 8, that is 3 divided by 3 plus 8, more or less equals to 27%. Similarly, I can measure the precision value. So in this precision value, it is going to take up the true positive by true positive and false positive values. So we get 3 plus 2 is equals to 5. So 3 by 3 plus 2, we get it as 60%. Similarly, as per the formula content what we talked earlier, we can compute the true positive rate and the false positive rate and false negative rate. So we compute this the false positive rate and false negative rate almost equivalent to 22% and 72%. So let us see the truth value. So the truth value, we are going to tell that 27% confidence with 27% interval, the prediction, the probability was he will subscribe. And here the precision was 60%. 0.6 implies 60%. So 60% is going to be the precision. So the truth part was, we get it as 60 here. The next one, what we need to look up will be the receiver operating characteristic curve. So we call it as ROC curve. So receiver operating characteristic curve. One more measure to put the things of a classifier, uh, whether a classifier is rendering the correct answers or not, you need to bring. So for that, we are going to use this ROC curve. And this ROC curve, it is going to give a trade-off between the hit rate and false alarm rate that was in the ECE branches. And the same receiver operating characteristic curve is statistically used in statistical applications domain in the earlier. Now, as a part of data science, now we bring this ROC curve to apply to all the machine learning algorithms, especially for classifying algorithms. So classifier, what I can tell was the classifier performance is good means we need to bring a receiver operating curve, ROC curve, and that too we need to give up between the true positive rate and false positive rate. So true positive rate and false positive rate. So that is one between the recall and another with the false positive rate. So if the curve is sticking to the upper part, if the curve is sticking to the upper part, and if it is touching the values of 1, that means it is good classification. So the true positive rate of a curve should be near to 1. It should be near to 1, then we are going to say it is good. Similarly, at this point of time, either a true positive value, either a true negative value should be 0. And at the end point, what we are going to tell was the false positive rate is 1 and true positive rate is 1. So the 1 and 1 coordinates, the 0 and 0 coordinates should sync with each other, and the spread of the classification algorithm should be above the area under curve. Should be above the area under curve. That means if I put some dotted value here, it should be greater than 0.5. Obviously, we say the classifier was doing better performance. So in general, ROC curve will have the true positive rate, that is the recall, over the y-axis, and false positive rate over the x-axis. Now, here we are going to bring a classifier. So at this classifier, we are going to set the values, the top left corner. So this is the top left corner, top left corner. At this point of value, it is 1 and 0. So 1, it is going to be the TPR, 0, it is going to be the FPR. And at this point of time, it is 0, 0. And the other point of time, it is 1, 1. And here it is 1, 0. So now we got this true positive rate and false positive rate, both are zeros, and now we assume everything as negative, and it is at the true positive rate and false positive rate, they are going to be 0 as everything is negative. Any classifier can achieve the top right position of the graph where TPR, FPR, they are going to be positive. This is positive way and a negative way. Now, the part which is going to be below this curve, we are going to call it as area under curve. So the graph what we are going to draw should be above it. So then we can say the classifier was performing better. So above the diagonal, what we are going to write? Above the diagonal, the graph should be when a graph is drawn after the model is built, and if it is shown in the above part touching from 0.5 to 1, then definitely we can say accuracy is correct. The receiver operating curve value is also going to be correct, and that is the best classifier. We can come to a justification. Fine. Up to now, we have talked about the theoretical aspect towards the confusion matrix and the receiver operating curve, ROC curve. Now let us put these things into practice using the R language. So we have the receiver operating curve ROCR as a package name. Assume there are some 2000 instances on the training set and 100 they are going to be put in a testing set. So total size is equals to 2100 data set, and this data set now it is divided into two parts. One we are going to call it as training set, another we are going to call it as testing set. So 2000 instances it is putting in training set, and 100 instances it is going to put it in testing set. So now I want to draw a receiver operating characteristic curve. So first of all, I am importing the library. I am importing the library here. Next one, I will read up the data which is going to be having the original data. So original data was in bank-sample.csv, and it is to be taken up as a table and assigned to training set. So next one was I need to remove the attributes. I need to remove few attributes not necessary for analysis. So what are these attributes? That is balance, day, campion, pday, previous, month. I don't need those. So I'm going to put drops. I'm going to, of course, it is a drops is going to be a user defined name. I do agree. So other than these elements, that is why I am putting other than these elements, the negative sense pulling up, and other than the names what we are going to mention, rest of the instances, rest of the attributes can be taken up into the bank train variable. So what we are going to do is we are taking bank train, we get all the attributes. In that attributes, I don't need day, I don't need campion, I don't need p days, I don't need previous, I don't need months. I want to remove the scope. So to remove that scope, what we can do is we will say an exclamatory mark and see that these attributes will not be navigated to the training set. Next one was we more or less iterate the same process what we adopted for the bank train, but here we do it for bank test. That is all here. Next one, we need to predict the performance. So how we are going to predict the performance is, yeah, we are taking the method name called as predict, and second thing was we take up the data set of testing, that is the second half, that is 100, we are going to pull it here, 100 we are going to pull it here, and there we are removing the number of columns, that too at the last, so minus n col. So that is the number of subscribed column, the last column, we are going to pull it out. Why we are going to pull it out? Because the answer has to be told by the classifier. You know the answer. The correct answer, the machine should tell, right? I know the definition of an operating system. As a teacher, I know it. Now, I will give you a 5 marks question, a 10 marks question, and ask you what is the definition of a operating system. So I explained you the definition of an operating system, and I'm expecting in the exam also you will write the same definition what I told to you, right? Then I will see what I told and what you have written in the exam, both are same or not. If both are same, of course, then the prediction is that you are done better. What it is which? That is called as Krish, that is called as true positive value, right? So similarly, the classifier for the 100 instances, as it is trained for 2000 instances, these 100 instances based on the previous experiences, machine should tell on the own what is subscription, whether it should be yes or whether it should be no. So the machine should answer correctly. So how it is going to answer? Then I am going to use a product method called as predict. So this it is going to be passed to a variable called as nb underscore navbase underscore predict. So I assume that navbase is going to be the model, is going to be the algorithm which we have taken up. So in subscribe, there are two classes, yes class, no class. There are two class labels, one yes, another one is no, you need to go with it. So first of all, I want to understand how many yeses are there. I want to understand how many yeses are there. Similarly, I want to check in reality, in the actual part. So when we write a confusion matrix, the vertical elements, we call it as predicted. The horizontal elements, what we have written was actual. So I know the definition of operating system. So I am called as an actual. I am expecting you, testing you to write the definition of an operating system. It is a prediction, whether you will write or not. So assume you have written yes, that is correct. Okay, so that correct value, it is stored in score. My correct value also has to be stored in some value, otherwise I can't compare what is in my mind and what you have written on the paper. So the thing what is in my mind has to be recorded to a variable. So the name of that variable is going to be the actual underscore class, and it is going to be taken up from the subscription value as S. So the person, if he has taken a bank deposit, we call his subscription will be true, that is yes. If the person is not taking a subscription, then we call it as false. So that is where we call yes for true content. Now we will estimate the probability. Now we need to estimate the probability. How? It is with score and with the actual label, that is yes versus yes, yes versus yes, we are going to get that element. So how we are going to get? So we say it is prediction with prediction of score between score and actual values. Next one. Now we need to bring this scenario to the receiver operating characteristic curve. We need to bring this into the receiver operating characteristic curve for the 2000, 2100 instances of databases. So how we are going to do it? One, I need to measure the performance. One, we need to measure the performance. So that is the function what it is going to state up as the initial first step towards the ROC element. So where is the answer right now stored? Right now, the relationship between score and the relationship between actual class score is nothing but the predicted value is going to be propagated into the variable name called as predict. So predict with x-axis and y-axis. First, we are mentioning the y-axis as true positive rate. X-axis, we are going to mention it as false positive rate. Now, I need to drop the ROC curve. How we are going to drop the ROC curve? One, we are going to call it as plot and bringing the function here, that is predict performance, PERF performance, and x-axis label false positive rate, y-axis label true positive rate. So we are going to plot, then we get the data set followed by definition of x-axis and y-axis, and followed by a line should be there. Why a line should be there? I need to put AUC, that is area under curve. I need to mention it up. So in order to mention the area under curve, first of all, where the area has to start, that is exactly to the 50% it needs to start. So the distinction I need to draw. So in order to draw this line, we will call the function called as AB line. We will call the function called as AB line. So AB line, so it is giving up with a location called as A, that is with x-axis, and a location called as B to y-axis, and it is wants the color, and it is going to have a color, the name of a color, we call it as gray 50, and then LTY, it is giving the line size, line width it is going to sell, it is about 3. So in this model, we have drawn the ROC curve for the nav-based classifier over the bank marketing dataset. So up to now, we have just given up a AB line. Then we have plotted the true positive rate for the predicted value, and that predicted value was taken up as a performance for the ROC, and it has been drawn over the plot function. So where is the ROC occurring? ROC occurring, original value was at PERF, and to visualize the PERF, we are going to draw. So the classifier, the ROC value was originally stored in performance, and it is going to be visualized in form of a graph, that too in form of a ROC. We are going to call up a plot function. Fine. Next one was how much is the performance is going to be tuned up. The performance, it is going to be tuned up to 0.91, that is 91.5%. So we have AOC, AUC and the values. So it was displaying the 9152, etc. So we get the same ROC to be getting with the performance, followed by the predicted content and the name. We call it as area under curve. So this is how we are pulling up the area under curve. Fine. To summarize, which method to use to which classifier So there are different classifiers available like regression, logistic regression, logical regression, decision trees, random forest, nav-Bayes, Bayesian, etc. So which classifier can be used to which relation? For example, if the number of attributes are more in a relation, then we can go with a nav-Bayes. And if the data contains lot of yes, no, pass, fail, class labels and different levels in sense, less than 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100. So I got a lot of levels, right? So if in this model, as mentioned, there is a value to be predicted, etc., then we can go with a decision tree, or again, we can use a nav-Bayes. Similarly, if we are talking about a non-linear data, then we can go with decision trees. But if we take up with linear data, obviously we go with the linear regression, and assume that in most of the cases where the output class is going to be a categorical value and it is involving with some probabilities, then we will look up with a decision tree or some logistic regression. And most important thing was the data it is going to contain mixed variable types like continuous or numeric values, ratio scaled or interval scaled values. Then the decision was to look up with a logistic regression or a decision tree. So this is all what we need to look as a part of diagnostics of a classifier. Thank you.